Good morning and welcome to Manhood Mondays with Coach Ellis. Hey, this is the day I spend just a few minutes talking with men about man issues. This is how to be a better father, how to be a better husband, better provider, better brother, uncle, whatever the case is. So I want to talk today about the man's legacy. And, oftentimes, Lady D, you hear me talk about legacy, but I experienced something yesterday that really touched my heart. I was at a very important ceremony for a friend of ours, and during the ceremony, both she and her sister talked about the influence of her father. She talked about the foundation that he laid, the principles he instilled, and even years after his passing, years after his death, they still remember the foundations that he set for them. In fact, they attribute their accomplishment of yesterday largely due to the influence of their father. So this is what's important here, is that oftentimes as parents, especially as dads, we think their kids are not listening, they're not paying attention, they rather not hear from us. But this reminds me that your children, the single most important voice to a child is the voice of their father. Whether present or absent, the voice of their father, running close behind his voice of their mother. But I want to make sure we understand the voice of the father is so important. And now these young ladies who are over the age of 40 talk about the foundations that daddy set. So Sabrina, we cannot overemphasize the importance of understanding the legacy that you leave behind. So when we think they're not listening, when we think they're not paying us attention, when we think they're not watching us, they are. And because they are, we must be very careful that we are always in position to impart life into them. So Christine, for the men in your life, make sure you encourage them to speak to the legacy they will leave in their children. And every child listens to, but especially men, especially our daughters. We are the standard in which our daughters will measure every other man by. Whether it's good or bad, our greatness and our great failures, we are the measurement in which they will measure the men in their life by, whether they admit it or not, whether they claim it or not. We are the example. Our absence is an example. Our presence is an example. Our involvement is an example. Our being there and doing nothing is an example. How we deal with their mother is an example. How we don't deal with their mother is an example. These are the things that our children measure, and they watch it day in and day out. So I want to encourage men to remember that our legacy lives with our children, and our daughters especially. So we must be careful how we handle them, careful how we handle their mothers, and careful to make sure they understand that if we are the standard, that we set the best standard possible, so that the man that they meet, the man they marry, the man they fall in love with, reminds them of their dad. Hey, I'm Coach Ellis. If you got questions or comments, go ahead and put it in the comments below, or catch me at coach@elliscrum.net, or find me on Facebook at Coach Ellis. Until next Monday, have a one-tabulous, legacy-building Manhood Monday. God bless you, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.